Hey guys, welcome back. We're here with our Mulan spoiler discussion for 2020. I mean, if you've seen the original, if you've seen the original 1998 version, I guess there's not really much to spoil. But we're here to talk about some of the big differences they've done. I'm joined by Harry.
Hey, it's me, Harry. And yeah, I think there's one moment that you could spoil. I mean, I was talking to Tyrone before he watched it and he said no spoilers. And I felt like is saying that there's nothing to spoil a spoiler in itself? Like
Yeah.
how close it is to the original, but
Yeah. I well, is it the does Maleficent count as a live action remake?
I wouldn't say so. I'd say it's a spin-off.
No. It's a spin-off or a reboot because that I honestly hate that movie and what it did to Maleficent. But this one, these ones, they're going straight for plot point by just adding and shuffling a few more elements of it. But the final outcome is still the same as how the original ended up.
Oh, certainly. It's just kind of like dust off a couple elements, make them a bit more interesting for the 2020 audience, and we'll leave it at that. And because there was definitely a lot of criticism with the original for the likes of Mushu and these sort of magical, mythical changes to this folklore tale that just doesn't really call for it.
So you take away Mushu, which is the one the Mushu and the ancestors, and that's like the one big sort of mythical element of the first film. But that doesn't really have any greater impact on the story as a whole, apart from being comedic side characters. Meanwhile, it's like the chi is like the force. I'm not too
definitely more of like I'm just like a spiritual connection to oneself. I mean, Iron Fist and all these characters love throwing the word chi around, and it's really just it's not anything unless you have it, and it's exactly what you need it to be.
Yeah. Okay, so basically right out the gate, I had a problem because the movie started off in how I predicted that the movie would start off like this. It shows child Mulan running around the rooftops doing something wacky, and then at the very end you see that she's got some cool skills, and everyone's just like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, you remember the exact same way Wonder Woman starts when it cuts back from Diana to her as a young child.
Yeah, she's just not getting along the way society wants her to, even though she's really capable, really competent, and everyone's like, you can't be doing this, you're too young. And it's like, yes, they're too young, but what is there to gain by being like, oh, you're super talented, how dare you?
Yeah. And so basically from there we transition to our main villain plot. So there's, I think first change right out the gate is that the Hawk, I don't remember the villain from the first movie's name, but his Hawk is now a woman who has, she gets development.
I think that change is one of the better ones. I think especially for what Mulan does as a female empowerment story, I think putting that contrasting character in works really well for it. It probably doesn't mean it's as faithful to the actual original folktale itself, but in the end it's still quite good.
I think there was an interesting aspect to it. They definitely, but I think that my problem was that was kind of this big magical element of it. That how far did it really go? I don't feel like they played into it at all. They didn't really expand on it or use it to its full potential. It was kind of just this thing that was there. It was a semi-threat, but then it's never followed through on.
Well, for the most part, the whole like aspect of Mulan is it's like she's a warrior. She shouldn't be a warrior. So she's a witch because she's channeling her chi, which is what warriors do. and it's like, oh, it's just the time, that's how it is. And then you actually have witchcraft happening on the opposing side, and you're like, so there is chi that turns you into a hawk and back. It's kind of, the rules of this movie aren't very specific.
I think, well, she also did, there was, I think, she basically said, we're not so different, or you and I are not so different, towards the end of the film, which I kind of get, but still it was kind of that, did you really have to say that? I mean, you've already basically explained that you guys are the same like 3 times already. Did you need to throw that line in?
I think though this movie kind of services it quite well, because it's not really a join me and together we can. It's kind of these two individuals.
But they say.
But she's less saying join the bad guys, and she's more like, everyone's trying to fuck us over. We only really can look like out for one another. I think the different spin it takes, because obviously Bori Khan, the villain, is like, you're my slave. This is the only way you can be slightly accepted, and even still I'm going to use you. It's kind of a, no one else has our best interest at heart. Why don't we just look out for one another?
Yeah, I that's fair enough. It's just, I think that the movie does get muddled where I didn't get, to me, I didn't get the message that it was that way, because it's not stated that it's join me and together we'll rule the galaxy. It's join me and we will take our place, maybe or maybe not, at his side. I found that very ambiguous, the way I was just reading it.
I don't think she's even getting a spot at his side. It's literally like, society's gonna try and kill you. If I'm the emperor, we'll let you go.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really have that much to gain out of aligning with him. So that was at least my takeaway from it. But
I think the matchmaker scene was definitely that. It was the first time where actually, we'll continue on the villain. I was intrigued that they had the villain scene fairly early on, and that they were attempting to expand on him more and more, especially in that first, say, half an hour. But then by the end, he's just like villain. That didn't do a damn thing for me. I couldn't distinguish him from the original.
Like from the start, I'm like, this is kind of, you're showing him and his small ranks is quite formidable. Like, they're running up the side of this Silk Road
that was cool.
Like,
they ran up the sides.
These like 8 men are gonna take down all of it. I'm like, this is awesome. And then it kind of it
cut away.
It turns into an
cut away
army
when
later on.
And then there's a dumb scene when the army attack, which I'm going to get into. But the matchmaker scene comes along, and it basically is the first show that, we know that the animation allows for so much more, because in this one it's just basically, oh, there's a spider in the room. Tea crash. Although I did like the little nod to Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man film with catching the tea on the...
Yeah.
Whoa, nice reflexes. That was the first thing I thought of.
It kind of... Because it's trying to be like Mulan's trying so hard to fulfill her role in this matchmaker scene, but also she's looking out for her family and her sister and all this. So I'm like, it sets Mulan in the right like position for the movie to go off, but this scene really isn't doing anything else.
No, same with the point of her sister is what? I was completely fine. You can introduce a sister character, but ultimately she's got to have some greater purpose in the end. She shows up in the first 20 minutes, shows up in the last 5 minutes, and just says, she basically represents what the regular route that Mulan was going down. I met a guy, he's sweet and shy. And then that's her character.
It's definitely a kind of...
She gets nothing.
A Katniss and a... whatever her sister's name is.
And a Prim.
Care. It's like...
Prim who got someone exploded by presents.
Younger and innocent, and this is a tether to show that they're human, and that because if it was just the parents, I feel it's like the dad's obviously going to be pissed off. The mum doesn't seem to like Mulan at all. It's like
no,
there's no reason for Mulan to come back at the end. I think the sister definitely is more of that. The sister gets along with him, with her, like, we'll go back. But the mum, like,
yeah, I mean,
no compassion whatsoever.
She was horrible. She was horrible. The mum in the original Mulan was just like, oh, Mulan, come on. Just do this for me. Do this for your father, please. This one was just like, what the hell are you doing? Be a woman. Be a proper woman. And then she was just like yelling at Mulan every chance.
And there's no like grandmother either.
No.
Which is probably the sister role is replacing the grandmother, I feel. But yeah.
Mulan's support base was very low in this film. I mean, like, granted, it's all right. It's cool that she got to do, because I mean, like, in the original, she's got Mushu, the cricket, Shang, her 3 friends. I mean, even the horse has characteristics, where in this one, it's just movie horse.
What did you think about the whole Phoenix of it all?
I hated that. I hated that so much.
Because I was just kind of like unsure the whole time.
It's Mushu's substitute in a spiritual sense. But Mushu they do establish he was a physical presence there. He wasn't just this thing in her head. I hated this. It like popped up. The Phoenix pops up every 2 minutes, and it's just, not every 2, every like 15, 20 minutes, just to say, oh, Mulan, do it for your family. It's just basically a reminder of that, because instead of a dragon, it's a Phoenix as their logo now.
It just felt to me like in a video game where like you've gone the wrong direction and there's like an arrow on the screen. But instead of an arrow,
that's what he literally
it's a bird. It's a Phoenix.
It's a bird which looked like a kite with streamers coming off it.
But like everything else, what it represents, and the whole, I liked the whole aspects of the sword, the truth, and all the symbolic aspects throughout it. I did quite like, but the Phoenix was just kind of a step too far, I feel.
Okay. Now we get to Disney films. We know Lion King takes from Hamlet. And we know that Mulan takes from Twelfth Night. This film, at times, I liked it when it leaned into the Twelfth Night aspect. However, in other moments, I found it awkward and sloppy and basically shows everything wrong with trying to make a live-action Mulan movie. And I was laughing at several instances for the wrong reasons.
Please elaborate on that point.
Okay, original Mulan, when she's just like, oh, I am my father's son. He doesn't talk about me, and then she tries to like spit out, and then he's just like, I can see why he never talked about her. That stuff's funny. Meanwhile, this one was like, this one didn't have a substitute for that. The only thing which I got a mild chuckle out of, which was when the guard guy comes in and he's just like, all right, everyone's got a shower. All right, also, who wants to do night guard? She's like, let me do it. I was like, personality. I know what that is. And that was
Do you know what personality is, Tyrone? Because I've known you for a while and I don't think you do.
Ouch.
Yeah. Burn.
Ouch, mate. And then it just, yeah. So Donnie Yen is there to be basically General Shang.
Yeah. And also was good mates with Fa Mulan's dad.
So General Shang got twisted and taken into 2 different characters.
Yeah.
There's the army side and there's the love interest side. And instead of just doing the more efficient and logical version, which is just give us Shang again, they go for this like terrible, terrible love interest.
I mean, it's kind of like, I don't hate it. It just needs a lot more. Wait a second. Most of their development is as mates but it always seems like he's going in for like the kiss moment, but it's like he still thinks that that's him, not her.
It doesn't come across at all. Okay, because what's his face? Okay, let's call love interest in this movie. Often showed lust for man Mulan, but in the original he's just like, oh, thanks man, you're a supportive friend. In this one there were like sexually charged moments between the two,
and I mean they keep cutting to scenes of everyone sleeping and everyone's trying to roll over onto.
I actually like
comedic.
that. I like
feel
that.
The first time, the next couple of times I'm like, we've done this beat.
No, I did like when he rolls over and she's just learnt to like basically jump over him,
she parkours
like leapfrog
over
him, and then he just goes rolling off. That was okay. That's the small character moments which I liked, and then like an hour into the film, I'm just like, this film is not bad, but I'm never going to remember a single thing about it. And then
it definitely has the benefit of the first Mulan being like, okay, I remember the first Mulan, so in theory I remember the second, but it doesn't have the most memorable individual
and then the first battle came, and that is where the movie completely lost me, because so they basically start with they're walking along, they've got to go. It's basically the scene that follows A Girl Worth Fighting For in the original. And then they see over the hills, they see they're not the Huns, they're the Roran army. And they say...
Perfect pronunciation from you, Tyrone.
Roran.
I believe it's Rodan.
No, it's not Rodan. The Roran army. So then I'm going to pronounce it differently every time. So then what happens is they look over.
Let's get down to business to defeat the Huns. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Mi amo T-Bone de araña discoteca, moneca, la biblioteca.
Is here to stay, like herpes, it won't go away. What happened to my internet? I want to order a baguette.
Yeah, so basically after that whole thing of the training and the fighting, they get to the duel, and so they see over the plains, over in the far distance, they see the Roran army, and they say, let's fight them. And this is where the dumbness awakens. So there was one really cool idea where they all put their shields up and they started hurling the flaming catapults at them, and that was pretty cool. However, the scene preceding it was Mulan runs away.
No, isn't this like the five people chase after, because the main guy and his cronies like just flee the battle and they are sent off pursuing them.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all get killed and then two run away, and Mulan's like, I guess I'll solo them.
Yeah, so she goes and fights all of them. I think she does okay, but then
She loses them.
Yeah, Hawk Girl comes along, and then they have a quick fight. Hawk Girl stabs her, and then the voiceover says, Fwaja died, however, Fa Mulan lives.
From that moment, because, yeah, the witch throws a ninja star, and then it seems like she's dead.
But she pulls it out, and there's no blood.
Because it's gone into the wrap that she's put around to be a guy.
Yeah. So Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she just like, remember in the film it was this big moment, like in the original it was like, oh, like there's that quiet and Shang goes in and he sees Mulan and he's like, oh no, are you kidding me? I really liked you and now this is what's happened. In this one it's just like, oh yeah, I'm literally just gonna throw everything off, let my hair go out.
And she rides back into the battle and she kicks so much ass.
Well,
And the battle's
she's
kind of
literally kicking spears when they're in air. First time she did it was kind of cool, but then it just became campy after a bit.
I was all there for it, in all honesty.
I
I was like, cool, bro. If she can fly into the air and kick spears, I love it.
So there was the battle's going on, and then they all huddle together under their little shields, and there was like a genuinely cool thing to see those cannonbolts like go into the groups of people. However, then Mulan decides to pick up a bunch of helmets and go behind enemy lines, and they start shooting at her, and like, clever plan, make them think. But then they decide that for some reason they
into a mountainside.
Instead of just shooting them, we will literally hurl a catapult at maybe a group of supposedly 10 people tops when you've still got huddles of 30 people in front of you, causing an avalanche.
Mulan perfectly estimated her opponents.
Yep.
In that moment.
Now, this movie did have a fair bit of practical effects, which was cool. However, the CGI avalanche was... Because the thing is, this is a $200 million movie. That avalanche did not look great. The far shots.
And we've quite recently watched a $20 million movie that, for the most part, doesn't look the best, but it looks pretty good.
It looks fine for $25 million, Bill and Ted does. But
this movie doesn't feel like it fits in its budget.
No, this movie feels like $120 million instead of $200 million. But then Donnie Yen says, you've brought shame to your family. However...
Oh yeah, because they go through the very elaborate, like, if you do this, you die. If you do this, you die. If you do this, expulsion.
Yeah.
Like, geez, I hope I don't fit into that very specific category.
It's so confusing. So literally, Donnie Yen says, get lost. So she goes away to this beautiful place that looks like it's in the middle of Australia, on this red desert hill. And then Hawk Girl comes up and says, we're not so different. We are the same. They cast me out because I was a woman. They're doing the same to you. And Mulan's crying. However, she says, I'm not going to turn my back like you did. So then what happens is she goes back to them and maybe in a minute convinces everyone that the Huns are attacking. And everyone's just like, I believe Mulan. I believe Mulan. They're doing the Spartacus thing. Like I said, cliches.
All of her 5-6 person gang are like, we believe them. And Donnie Yen's like, I guess that's my whole army.
What the hell? Like, remember, the original one, there was this sort of just like, okay, but like the battle's been won and everyone is marching through the streets of China. However, Mulan's just like, no, there are people still coming. And then there's that bit where she's going through China and saying to everyone, look what's happening. I know that I betrayed your trust.
It's a bit more claustrophobic in the original.
And she's going up to everyone, it's like, you have to listen to me. And everyone's just like, get off me. You're not only are you a woman, but you're also a liar. And it's like this great sort of moral struggle that she has. She's got to overcome.
The thing is, though, we've established these very capable wall-running warriors, and we've established that our guys, wow, they can spear real good. So it's like, they can't be on the back foot. They've got to go in all guns blazing, or they're going to get their ass kicked.
So then we get to... So remember the finale of the original?
Where
Best.
Mushu is Batman, yes.
Could have used some Batman moments, but instead of the brilliant finale of the original, where it's a packed city and it's the fireworks going off and the lovely, like, 7 o'clock twilight in China provides the perfect atmosphere for this finale. In this one, they fight in a empty city at about 11 o'clock in the morning, and it looks shocking. It looks so bland.
And the plan is not to kill the Emperor, it is to tie them to a very elaborate structure and then do something that'll give them time to stop the process and this and that.
And also there's this... So, in the original Mulan, you remember the way she gets the upper hand over the bad guys, she uses the fan to stop the sword, and it's kind of like using this traditional feminine object to turn the tides, and she takes a sword and she does that amazing bit, and she's just like, stand back. In this one, it's like
I can backflip over you.
There was like a cool moment where they were balancing on the beam, even though physics, it would make no sense how this would happen.
Hey, they weigh roughly the same amount. Her in no armor, being like a young woman.
Yeah. I mean, even the moment where she grabs the thing just stays horizontal, perfectly horizontal while it's swinging around. It doesn't tip the slightest. And
we have bypassed a fairly important bit when they're all fighting in the corridor and Mulan goes to save the Emperor, and the bad guy goes to shoot her and goes to shoot the witch, but the witch dodges it and it's going to Mulan, and the witch kind of takes a bullet for it, which I'm like, if this was executed better, this would be actually really interesting.
Oh, yeah, because the villain, they haven't established him at all, so he's just some guy who apparently the Emperor killed his father, which they say about 15 times, and apparently that's all we get in the way of character development for him. And so then Lady comes up, and apparently, I don't know, maybe there's deleted scenes of them, maybe there's more stuff setting up their character. It feels like there was a scene between them which was missing in between the first training stretch. There was about 20 minutes uninterrupted where it's just Mulan training. And I feel like in there's like one scene missing of setting up those two as villains. Because they have one earlier.
All of his development is, you belong to me. Like, I will help you out, but you belong to me. And it's
you're
like
my dog or something.
Like, you're my slave, something like that.
Yeah.
But I do quite like the whole... that army is following Mulan's lead. She was right. Like, I guess she is a better version of me. And then it's like, I'm a killer.
Yeah, bad that army.
The scene plays out super weird.
I mean, too bad that army apparently only consisted of like 10 people we see in the movie. Like, what the hell? Why is the city empty?
That as well. It's kind of like, can we not afford
extras?
A full city?
There was no stakes because every single time someone was fighting, it was just, we're fighting in an empty courtyard, we're fighting in an empty hallway, we're fighting in an empty throne room. There was no one there to add to it. Like, in the original, people are watching as the Huns are attacking and you see the silhouettes coming and the people are gasping and they're getting scared because like all this stuff's finally coming together. Here it's just like, where's all the people gone? There's no stakes.
The Emperor has just been snatched out from his palace and he's tied up in this contraption.
And the Emperor is just like, he's just boring guy up until the point where she frees his hand and then he catches the arrow and then he tosses it up to Mulan, who jumps, springboards off a wall, does a backflip and kicks it right into the chest of villain, and he dies.
I mean, it was a real waste of casting for the Emperor.
Oh my god. It's
you
just...
put Jet Li in this role where he does nothing.
Yeah. Absolutely nothing. I think is there this movie, even though I feel like the runtime was actually one of the best parts of it, it does feel like a truncated 2.5 hour movie. It feels like there's a lot of stuff missing.
It also feels like you can't cut certain arcs out of it altogether to make it shorter. Like I don't quite know what to do with this movie to sort of make it a stronger arc overall. It's an interesting case.
Yeah. So then they get into the hallway. There's like that bit where there's like a woman all dressed up, and then she bows forward, and it's revealed that Mulan's still there, dressed as a normal thing. And they say, "Oh, do you want to join the King's Guard?" And
did you just really talk over the fact that the lady leading her up, Ming-Na Wen, is the original Mulan?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. I did skip through the credits because there was some boring song which didn't get played throughout the movie, and so like I just listened to Christina Aguilera's version of Reflection. I was like, so I didn't see the names there. Oh, so that was her. Well, doesn't that go against the idea of the original then? What the hell are you? So you have the original Mulan as what?
What part's confusing you here?
Okay, so you have the original Mulan, yeah?
I
playing.
think she's just it's a cameo on her behalf. She's playing herself, even though she is in like the matchmaker dress.
Yeah, wouldn't you want to give her a cameo that's not so contradictory to the original point of Mulan? Just having the I don't know. It's like having.
It's just a passing of the torch scene, Tyrone.
That's
to me, literally all it is.
To me, it's like having Ripley show up in a new movie just to get killed by an alien in 2 seconds. Or have Sigourney Weaver cameo as someone who's just getting randomly chest burst.
She's not playing Mulan, though.
I know she's not playing Mulan.
She's just a female, and it's a neat Do you get confused every time Stan Lee rocks up and you're like, I get he created it,
No.
It undermines everything.
Okay, now you say that. It's like the Ghostbusters 2016. It's like Bill Murray's cameo, where he was the ghost skepticist, and it was like, why are you doing this? This doesn't make any sense. Why would you have a character, you have them play Ghostbuster in the first one, now you have them play Ghost Skeptic in the new one? You have her play Mulan in the original one, and now you want to have her play, what, just gender role Chinese person in this one?
That's the point of a cameo, Tyrone.
No!
It's different going from an animated film to a live action. Because you see Bill Murray as a Ghostbuster and then as a ghost skepticist. It's like, I can see that's the person I recognise. Whereas having a voice actress... How is it a stupid cameo?
Alright, let us know in the comments who's right on this. Should a character come back and have a cameo where they represent the exact opposite of what their original one should? Or what's your case?
Ant-Man, the guy who plays Ant-Man in an SNL sketch comes back as like just a random driver when Paul Rudd lands on the cab. Is that a bad cameo?
Who played him in an SNL sketch?
The first live-action appearance of Ant-Man was an SNL sketch, and so they got that guy just to be a driver of a car.
Well, that's completely different then.
How?
Because it's an SNL sketch. It's not like a serious thing.
He's playing Ant-Man, though.
This is Mulan. This is our original animated Mulan. And you've got her as this, just a regular... what Mulan wasn't about. Could they not, even be her mother or something and make her...
But then that's so tropey if it's like the old one is now the mother.
I'd rather that.
I've been
than
watching The Flash and having John Wesley Shipp as Barry Allen's father is like fun for 5 minutes, and then you're like, we get the point. It was just a cameo, Tyrone.
Cameos can work and cameos cannot work, and I didn't know it was her, but like the way you spelled it out to me, I don't like that cameo at all. That's dishonorable, Harry.
You are confusing me so much. This seems like such a futile thing to be mad over.
No.
I was happy to see Ming-Na Wen having a small cameo where she introduces Mulan to the Emperor in a regal setting, wearing an homage
dressed as
from the matchmaker scene.
Something which Mulan hated.
That's not the point. It's it's her iconic look without being a warrior.
I have a problem with the casting of that cameo. Not the scene itself, that's fine. But her playing it, I don't like that. Alright.
Once this video ends, Taran and I are going to have a domestic.
We're going to have a big fight about this. That movie's gone down another rung for me. So basically, she goes back to her hometown and refuses a spot on the King's Guard, and then her parents say, "You brought honor to us again," and then Donnie Yen just for some reason goes all the way back to say, "Oh well, no." She gets a scene with love interest as well, and then Donnie Yen comes back and says, "Oh yeah, you know that thing you turned down about 5 minutes ago? Do you want to do that again?" And she's just like, And then Mulan 2, the teaser comes up, and I did not like this movie.
I quite enjoyed it.
Where would you rank it amongst live action Disney movies?
I think it's top tier. I mean, it's not that much to rise above the likes of The Lion King and Aladdin. I think that the more feminist twists that this movie does is a lot better executed than the likes of Aladdin, where you've got your slow-mo, I'm in charge song. This is a bit more like, she's just a woman who's trying to do her part. It's girl power, and I like that about Mulan, because that's all it's got to be.
Yeah, okay.
Where would you rank it amongst the live-action ones?
God, like, it's I think it's like Jungle Book's like at the above average. I think this one goes at the bottom of the pile with the other ones. It does nothing for me on... It looks fine, but I think some of the most important story elements from the original are completely rushed over. All of the personal conflicts are extremely quick. I mean, like, you just talk... Okay, here's one scene. Remember that brilliant scene in the first one where it's her, the Jerry Goldsmith scene, and it's all like... She finally realized that her father is... She's got to take her place, and it spends like, it's only 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, but you completely get the idea of the scene. In this one, it's literally just her. She picks up the sword, cut to straight away her dressed as a soldier, and then Dad says, "Oh my God, what's happened? My sword is taken." And that was done in literally 20 seconds, so we could develop a whole bunch of other shit that didn't need to happen. I think this movie is just another Disney live-action reboot that just misses the mark. I appreciate what it was going for, but...
I definitely give this movie credit for trying to change things up more than a lot of other
I'm not getting pissed off because there's no Mushu or there's no songs. And
that
stuff
might be
like
one of
that.
my gripes. The fact that the movie keeps blueballing you by giving you the little intro tunes of all the songs and being like, "Oh, we'll make a man out of you." Oh wait, no, there's no songs in this.
Donnie Yen literally says like 2 lines of "I'll make a man out of you," and it just felt so out of place.
Like, this is just mean. You're putting pieces of great music in here. Just give us the songs.
So. Harry, you'd recommend Mulan?
I would.
I'd say stay away. Bad.
Definitely not your $35. But
No. What the hell? Oh my God! Imagine paying $35 for this. I mean, we totally did.
What do you mean, imagine? I don't know about your household, but my household did pay for it. So, government, get him.
So thank you guys for watching. What did you think about Mulan? Let us know in the comments below. I've been Tyrone.
And I've been the right person in this discussion, Harry.
Completely wrong.
Cameos are fun, don't overthink them.
Let's see. Oh, tell that to the Ghostbusters fans then, Harry. Tell that to the Ghostbusters
Cameos are fun in good movies.
This wasn't a good movie. All right, bye.